All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of HT, a Third Culture Kid, where I, as a third culture kid, share my thoughts, experiences, and conversations. Welcome to my
Man,
podcast.
that was a good intro.
Oh, yeah. I've been practicing that. I feel like I need a one-liner all the time when I introduce. Otherwise, it's so inconsistent.
Your
Thanks for
elevator
the
pitch.
encouragement. Dude, it's been a long time, huh? It's been a
It's been
long
like a
time.
month, hasn't it?
Maybe even more. I think it's been like 6 weeks. You
Yeah,
know?
maybe. Yeah. Because I think it was before I went to Virginia, I think.
Yo, you went to Virginia?
Yeah, I went to Virginia twice in October and November. I went to Virginia.
Wow. You're traveling quite a bit around the nation.
Too much.
Too much, really.
Yeah.
Just as a guy who traveled cross country.
It just gets to be a lot. Like, when it's literally like the last 7 months, it's been like every single month I've been on an airplane.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, that's tough. That's
and
tough.
it's just like every 2 to 3 weeks I'm on an airplane, and so it's just like not enough time to like settle in because it's like, oh, I need to pack my bags. I'm going to be gone for a week.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the trips were good. How long did you stay in your trips? These other states?
It was about 5 days both
5
times.
days? It's kind
Yeah,
of worthwhile. Yeah. You
yeah.
made it worthwhile. Yeah.
I
But
mean, when
yeah,
you're in a relationship, you don't really have much options. You just kind of have to make it work.
for long distance.
Yeah,
Yeah. Long distance relationships are tough. But kudos to you in putting in the effort.
yeah, yeah. How about you? How you been?
Well, as you know, I got gum graft surgery. It's the
Oh, yeah,
first
that's
time
right.
I ever yeah, it's the first time I ever had that surgery. So what that entails is maybe there are many methods, but the method that I underwent is they'll take some tissue from the roof of my mouth and then they'll use that tissue to graft onto the areas that are exhibiting gum recession.
Mm,
So that's what I underwent. I was awake the whole time. I didn't feel that much. I didn't feel any pain really because I was under local anesthesia. And I have new gum now attached to the areas where I had gum recession. The recovery process wasn't that bad, but it was annoying. It was hard. I was careful not to talk too wildly or too freely because I didn't know if that would rupture some gums or damage my recovery a little bit, which is why I postponed the podcast a few times. But I recovered from that surgery. I'm still getting used to the new gums, but day by day, I get more familiar with it, and it feels more natural.
okay. How long
Yeah.
was the procedure?
The procedure was 2 hours.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
long time.
It's a long time to stay awake. Yeah. But I don't know if you relate to this, but when you're in a state of pain or an intense physical experience, you're so present in that moment that the time you spend in it, you don't like dread the amount of time it takes because you're such in that moment. You're just focused on the experience that you're having right now. So, for example, when I'm doing martial arts too, like you're just so engrossed in the moment that the time that passes isn't a concern of yours because you're so present in the moment. The future isn't something that you're dreading or anything. So, in a similar manner, I think going through the surgery because you know you're going through this very emergency, very precarious, and a little bit above average physical trauma that your body's accustomed to feeling, like you don't the sense of time takes a backseat to the sense of experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fair. That's almost like what is it, like flow state,
In a
where
way,
yeah.
yeah. But I think there's some. This might be twisted to say, but there's something sometimes meditative about pain that it brings you to the present moment. I don't know if you call it meditative, but something. If you're in pain, you're thinking about the pain, and that's where your thoughts are focused on, right? Although it's a negative experience you're feeling, there's something that brings you to the exact experience, and the presence that you have in that experience is quite enlarged with pain.
Yeah. No, I
If you
think
know
that
what I
makes
mean?
sense because you don't really have the bandwidth to think about like future things. Like when you're in a fight or flight state, you don't have time to think about like, oh, what am I going to eat tomorrow for dinner? Like that's not important. like the only thing that's important is resolving the issue that you're in or dealing with.
Perhaps. I don't know if I get in a fight or flight moment with pain. When you pinch yourself, for example, you just feel it, right? That experience kind of consumes. It's not like you don't have the bandwidth; it just consumes your bandwidth. It fills it
Yeah.
up a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Like it's like, for example, um, when you're, let's say, for example, like you're, uh, fighting somebody or something like that, right? Like
right, right.
you're, like you can focus on
Can't
other
think
things,
about
and if you
right.
do, you're gonna get punched in the face. But if you remove those distractions, like your body is gonna naturally put you into like a heightened state of like awareness to where
Right.
you're only concerned about that moment, and like everything might seem like, I guess, more like slow, or like more like you can perceive things a little bit better in that like specific moment.
Yeah, I mean, for a fight, I feel like it's the circumstances that demand your presence in that moment, and then there are some experiences within those circumstances that just naturally and automatically invoke a sense of presence. It could be pain. If you get hit in the face, all you're thinking about at that moment and all you're feeling at that moment is that pain of being punched in the face, right? That's
Yeah.
experience. But when you're in fight as well, too, I imagine this is maybe for like UFC fighters. I haven't been in a fight recently or for a long time. But I imagine when you're in a fight too, it's the circumstances, the threat of being punched, the threat of being harmed, that's gonna also generate presence in the situation. But then there's also
Yeah.
the experiences themselves, not just the circumstances that I think generate presence of
Yeah.
into the experience. Anyway, all this to say, 2 hours it took for the surgery. It didn't feel that long, and the recovery period was maybe. I mean, I'm still recovering. The doctor says I'm still recovering. I can't brush normally, but I think uh, after 2 weeks, I was able to eat more normal foods. Like I had to eat like soft foods in my first week, which meant like soups, not a lot of, not a wide range of protein. So that was a little bit difficult. I was craving different kinds of foods, and I rejoiced when I had some kind of soup that had a variety of things, like maybe like ground turkey and soft zucchini or whatnot too. So it was a week where it made me appreciate all the kinds of foods that I can eat afterwards.
Okay. So
You
you had
know,
a pretty jam packed few weeks yourself too, then.
yeah, it was a struggle with myself and being comfortable and patient with my recovery. There was
Yeah.
that as well. But also we our break span Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah. What did you do? What did you do for Thanksgiving?
I
Go
was
back
back in
home.
Virginia. No.
Oh, you're back in Virginia.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I went to my girlfriend's family. They have like a McMansion farm. So we uh, hung out there. And it was pretty good. It was different. Like I definitely missed mac and cheese, which my family usually does, and their family doesn't.
Hmm.
So that was kind of missing. But yeah, it was nice doing something different and like experiencing it with different people.
Hmm. Yeah, back where I'm from, we don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but we're in the States, so I guess we celebrate it. I think for our Thanksgiving, we just stayed. We had a Friendsgiving, but Thanksgiving we just stayed, enjoyed our own company, relaxed. I was still recovering also. Like I couldn't eat turkey. So um, my girlfriend was really patient with me well as I recovered as well too. So grateful for her. Yeah.
I feel like that's like the best way to have holidays, though. Like to keep it as like low key as possible, because I feel like now, like especially living away from my family, I think I'm
Uh
starting to
huh.
like see what is important and what's not important. And it's
Hmm.
like I'm thinking about like, okay, Christmas is coming around the corner, and it's like, okay, what, okay, am I gonna like buy stuff here in Oklahoma and then like travel with it to the Bay Area? Am I gonna buy stuff and then ship it to? And I'm like, like honestly, like that's the cost on top of like paying to fly there and like hotels and rental cars, like that's already super expensive. So I'm like, you know what, like each immediate family is going to get like one thing, and then that's it. Like if they're upset about that, like that's not my problem. I just enjoy my presence. Like I'll enjoy your presence, and like let's keep it
Yeah,
as like you know
simple and low key.
simple. Yeah,
The holidays are so economically charged. Like there are ceremonies or rituals in the holidays that means you spend more money. That also helps economy. That their advertisements try to promote more purchasing as well. I feel like it's diluted with all these like economic incentives
yeah,
for other
and it's
businesses
excessive.
too. Yeah, and it's excessive too. It's not pure. Yeah, like you said, the point is to enjoy time with each other too. Yes, gifts are nice, but you don't have. I don't think you have to get gifts
Yeah,
for your friends and family. If at any too, you don't have to like buy really expensive stuff either. But then there are sales that are going on at Christmas, so you're like incentivized to buy stuff as well too, which means you spend more time. You have to get a Christmas tree as well. There's like a market for Christmas trees, so buying that as well too. You got to decorate your house as well too, which also creates a market for decorations. Yeah, I feel like it's
dude, it's gonna.
diluted with like all these ulterior motives as well.
Yeah, and it's just like just to fly to the Bay Area, it's gonna cost around like 2 grand, and it's just well to fly and just like all the other like
That's my
housing.
gift
It's
to you
like
guys.
yeah, it's like what do you guys expect from me? Like, don't
do you,
expect much this year.
but does your family kind of expect that you bring gifts?
Nah, I think we're kind of phasing out of that, especially now too. Like I used to be the youngest and I'm not anymore. And so it's like it's more for like the kids, like my nephews and my nieces, like for them to get things, not
Oh, I
necessarily
see.
everybody else.
I see. I see. I see. It's hard to convince your kids that my present should be enough for you guys. I will not get you guys the toys that you want. What do kids enjoy? What do kids these days enjoy? Like, what do they want to get?
Like Pokemon cards and like
Still, wow, really,
yeah.
Pokemon
My niece is
forever,
like 2.5
Pokemon
and
forever.
she's already into
Wow,
Pokemon.
damn, that's really impressive. Pokemon, I was listening to Joe Rogan episode a little bit of the Snoop Dogg, and he was saying how Snoop Dogg always stays relevant. And then, as you mentioned, how Pokemon is still something that young children covet, it's still one. In my head, I'm thinking Pokemon is like the Snoop Dogg of the children's generation. Continue to stay relevant,
I think it's
Pokemon,
if it's not, it's like one of the top, if not the best selling franchise of like all
ever,
time.
of all
Yeah.
time. What would also be up there? What other franchises would it be up there if not Pokemon?
Like Disney and
Oh, for you're right, Disney, Marvel comics,
yeah,
yeah. Star Wars, I bet would be up there.
because they've been
Yeah,
around since like Pokemon's been around since like early '90s, like in Japan, right?
I think so. I believe so. If not early 2000s at the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, '95 I think is that's at least the first year Pokemon cards. So at least '95.
Wow. But Pokemon cards aren't that expensive. I guess just spending the time to buy those gifts, I guess, is tedious,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I spent like maybe close to like 2-3 grand last year on Pokemon cards.
just just give your nieces some cards from your collection then.
I
You're
might do
like,
that.
oh really? Wow, two
Yeah,
three grand in Pokemon card collection. Wow. Why? What's some reason for it? Because you just want to collect, or because you want to resell them at some point?
yeah. I mean, it's more personal. Like I still buy them, not as fat, not as much. Like I think the
Wow.
pandemic sped that up quite a bit, but yeah, it's like nostalgic, and so like I hope one day to like pass that on to my kids, and like they can keep building the collection, or if they want to sell it all, they can sell it all. But hopefully, I can like do that with them.
Sell the cards?
No, just like collect cards with them, like just like a hobby,
Oh,
something that they might
oh.
be interested into.
Wow. Well, it looks like Pokemon will give you that continuity for
Trying to
that.
stay relevant.
Yeah, Pokemon to be popular still, and you guys can still do that. Yeah, I think I don't. I mean, I didn't collect cards as extensively as you did, but a mentality that I shared was that maybe one day my kids are going to enjoy something I have, so I continue to have these Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But I don't know if Yu-Gi-Oh cards are still relevant anymore. Somewhat, I think, but probably not as popular as like Pokemon. So still have my Game Boy Color with my the Pokemon. I don't know what they're called, the Pokemon packs or games where you can play
Yeah.
what like the red version, the yellow version, or whatnot.
You still have red version?
I think I have red. I think I have yellow and probably gold. I think I
Those
have
are
those.
hot commodities. Hold on to those.
Hold on
Like
to those,
original.
dude. But how? But do these things decay? Like these chips or whatever is powering these Pokemon games?
Yeah,
Because
there's like a
I don't know if
battery
they're
in the
gonna last.
cartridge that, but you can replace the battery in the cartridge.
No, but the gold version, like that it's a thing you
Yeah.
insert. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
that's not, that doesn't run a battery or anything, or does it?
No,
It runs a battery?
there's actually a battery. Yeah, in the cartridge there's a battery too. So like I
Oh,
had
really?
silver version and like the
Yeah.
battery started to die and so like I would like it would restart the game like every like 5 minutes. So it's because of the battery. So what you can actually do is actually get that battery replaced
Uh
and
huh.
then you can like keep playing it
But the
for however
memory's
long.
gonna, even if the battery dies, the memory's still maintained.
No, it just goes.
Oh
So you have to
no,
restart every single time.
dude! I had a Mew in my Pokemon Gold, so I think it was Pokemon Gold. So I held on to it, but who knows if it's gonna survive. So anyway, I have all that, but the sentiment was like, yeah, but at some point, maybe I don't want to share this with my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we'll
nice.
definitely hold on to this. I think
Sounds good. Maybe
yeah.
I won't share those with my kids if they shoot up in value. I might just sell them. I say, kids,
Wait till they're like
college will not pay
25.
for itself. This is what I'm doing to pay for your colleges. Yeah, nice. So yeah, holidays. Why are we talking about holidays? Well, I wanted to talk about Thanksgiving a little bit because as I was recovering, I tried to pick up some new habits. I like reading 10 pages a day, and I don't think after I started working, after we came back from break and we had to work again, I think that habit like just broke down. It's as hard to want to look at another screen because I have a Kindle and then read 10 pages again and again. But while I was doing that, reading 10 pages a day, maybe I did that for like 60% of the time. I still kind of try to do that. I think I learned a few things here and there too. It was pretty
Yeah.
cool learning the things I did too.
I feel like it's a good
Yeah,
habit to have. Like just mentally too, just making sure that your mind is like staying elastic with just like new ideas and topics and all the different books that you're reading and stuff like that.
true. Yeah, that helps as well too. I think just guess for like your mental health as well too and your cognitive health.
Yeah.
But also just learning a few things. But I do think I spent way too much. I don't think when you read books, you have to read every word or anything. I feel like I should be comfortable once I feel like I got the main idea of a certain section, just skip that section, go to another one. Because otherwise, if I keep this strategy up for like a long time, then I will never be able to read as many books because it's going to bog me down. Because if I hang on to every single word, it's just going to slow me down.
Yeah.
So that's something I think I'm starting to realize, and I might adjust my reading style a little bit.
Yeah, I need to get better at that. I've been off and on about that where I'm like, every day I'm going to read for like at least 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
And
Oh, really? That's not bad at all.
yeah, I don't get to it every single day. And some weeks I don't get to it at all. But um, I feel like, I mean, I think just reading in general is just something that everybody needs to do regularly. Like, I feel
Really?
like it's just one of those important things. Yeah.
I sometimes ask myself, I don't know if I ask myself, but I have an answer kind of whether it's more important to read or more important to learn. There's a difference because you can read something, but you can learn by not reading too. You can like take classes. So of the two, which is more valuable? In my head, I think just learning something is more valuable. Like you can take a class, if whether it's like a software engineering class or whatnot, some math class or whatnot online, and I feel like that would be more valuable than reading, in my opinion, because you're picking up skills as well if you're taking a class, assumedly.
Yeah, I would agree to that too. Cause I mean, if you look at the, like causes of like cognitive, slowdown and like Alzheimer's
Decline.
and things of that nature, or yeah,
Mm,
decline. Like it's because you're not doing things with your brain to like challenge yourself and to learn and like you know dealing with confusing and frustrating problems. Like if you just come home every single day and you just sit in front of your computer or like sit in front of the like TV and just watch TV all night, like you're in for just a really rough time when you get older, because I think it's just like, again, it's just like your brain isn't functioning. It's shutting off different parts of your brain. So when you're learning, it's like you're, you know, putting things together, making things make sense, solving problems. Like it's just, I think it's just overall just learning. I like learning. I'm always trying to like learn new things.
Yeah. I mean, I liken it to physical exercise kind of too. If you
Mhm.
exercise physically, then your other health problems that may emerge when you get older, the risks of that decrease. I don't know, the cardiovascular health is probably going to be better as well too. Your heart's going to be healthier as well. I imagine. Yeah, I'm no doctor. That would probably mean uh, lesser risk for heart attacks if you exercise regularly as well too. So like physical exercise, you could probably apply that to like mental exercise as well. If you
Yeah.
exercise your brain, then also cognitive ailments that may emerge when you're older too. The risk of those are going to be less and just less likely as well too.
Yeah.
The brain is no different in that regard. I feel. Yeah. In this podcast episode, I thought we were going to talk about like whether I was thinking that we share or have a discussion on whether it is good to drink coffee or not. I assume you drink coffee and I don't drink coffee. And I didn't know if this topic was
I
going to be
just finished some
engaging.
coffee.
You just finished some coffee. I didn't know if the topic was going to be engaging. My girlfriend said maybe it was going to be boring, but
Yeah.
it might hell, it might end quickly. But I have so many friends that drink coffee that I wanted to discuss with someone as well too, and see if I
Yeah.
can convince someone that coffee is not necessary and you don't need coffee and it's not good for you. So I don't know if you did any research, but I'm of the stance that coffee is we're over reliant on coffee. We don't really need coffee, uh, and it's just overhyped. That's just my stance. Would you
So are we
disagree or agree?
limiting it? So we're saying just coffee, or we're talking about caffeine?
That's a good question. How else do you get caffeine besides coffee?
I mean, there's lots of different
Caffeine
ways.
pills?
Like, yeah, you can take caffeine pills. You can take energy drinks, pre workouts, green
Hmm.
tea. There's caffeine in green
Let's
tea.
do coffee because coffee
Okay.
is so much more common and widespread that I think
Hmm.
it consumes probably more people's time and money than these other things too. And I feel like for like a pre-workout, that's for like a specific purpose, and you might not take it every day, but coffee people take every day. It's so much more pervasive. So I feel like those factors make coffee a more engaging discussion and a more interesting discussion.
Yeah. I mean, coffee, like, I will, so I will agree with you on one thing, that I do believe coffee is a drug that's abused. But
It has caffeine, right?
yeah, I will agree with you there. But I think just like, honestly, like, if there's any moment that I look forward to in the day, it's
Uh-huh.
waking up in the morning and making a cup of coffee. Like,
You're
I
not
don't, they're
alone. I
just,
hear that.
it's such a just like good, just like from a ritual standpoint, it's just comforting. It's just like allows me to just like start my day in a very like proactive manner. And yeah, it's just like I don't know how else I would start my day.
Do you drink coffee on an empty stomach, or do you first eat your breakfast and then drink coffee?
I drink it on an empty stomach.
So I imagine that would magnify the effect of coffee relative to you having had something like a meal and then drinking coffee.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
imagine.
So I mean, like, honestly, I don't need to drink coffee as much as I do drink coffee, but for me, honestly, one cup a day is all that I need. But I also am a big fan of the taste of coffee. So like, when I wake up, I'll have my first cup of coffee, and in the afternoon, I'll probably have like I'll make another cup, or I'll do like a cold brew. But it's just like it's almost like wine. Like there's different like beans, different varietals, and they all have different types of flavors. And it's like finding those beans that like that just hit the spot right.
So you drink coffee also for the taste.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in preparation for this podcast episode, I just did a quick Google search of like why should one drink coffee and what
Hmm.
are the harmful effects of coffee. And there's a pretty good list of benefits of coffee, and there's a pretty good list of adverse effects of coffee. But I didn't know some of these benefits of drinking coffee. So in the end, after just quickly skimming these articles, I was like, yeah, I don't know if coffee is actually bad or not. But it's such a, I mean, let me just list some of these benefits. Some
Yeah.
of the benefits, some of the notable benefits are coffee may protect you from Alzheimer's disease and dementia, may lower the risk of Parkinson's, and this was interesting. And it says coffee can fight depression and make you happier, which is interesting because one of the adverse things that was mentioned in this cons of drinking coffee was coffee can increase your anxiety levels. So it was
Hmm.
a little bit contradictory, but I guess depression and anxiety are different. But given this long list of benefits, which I imagine I mean, and this list of benefits has like citation and sources that they cite to support many of these statements. It's also like the biggest source of antioxidants in the Western diet. I don't know if that's true, but regardless, it's like a source of antioxidant too. So really, in the end, I was coming into the discussion thinking, I'm gonna have a strong stance of convincing this guy that coffee's bad. But just seeing this long list of benefits for coffee, I was like, I don't know if I can conclude and confidently say, yeah, coffee is, people should stay away from coffee. So,
But I mean, I also worked in a third wave coffee shop. Third wave being like more of those like smaller farm to table type of coffee shops. Um,
mm,
and I mean, I think there's so much in the coffee world that can like I connect with people through coffee. Like if I go to a new place, a
mm,
new coffee shop, I can relate to them because I worked in coffee for 2 years. So, I understand their work and what it is that they're doing. And I can, share my experiences of the shop that I worked at. Given that, especially with these smaller shops, you have this, ability to assist farmers in other locations that are in lower socioeconomic situations, to where you can now help to provide a living for people in another country at a very low cost.
mm.
Again, there's the health benefits, which I think are kind of hogwash to some degree. But I think
Oh,
overall,
really?
I
You think
would
the health
say,
benefits are hogwash?
I mean, like, is there a possibility that people's like Alzheimer's is being, prevented from coffee? Like, I feel like that's a
Several
tough
studies
one
show
to.
that coffee drinkers have up to 65% lower risk of getting Alzheimer's disease.
I don't buy it.
Now, that could be correlation. Maybe these coffee drinkers do other things that's not related to
Yeah,
coffee that also lower the risk of getting Alzheimer's, possibly. But still, there is some correlation.
that I would
Yeah.
like to see the extra data there,
I'm
because
going to
that's
click on this hyperlink. Let's see. Now I'm in a position of trying to argue for the health benefits, which I didn't think was a position I was going to assume during this podcast episode. All right. So I'm reading this from the National Library of Medicine, pubmed.ncbi.nim.nih.gov. Wow, it's a lot of organizational acronyms there. But basically, this says that a recent meta-analysis of 4 studies, so just 4 studies published up in January 2004, so quite a while back, suggests a negative association between coffee consumption and Alzheimer's disease, despite important heterogeneity in methods and results. So what I think, translating this into layman's terms, despite doing or testing different methods of coffee consumption and whatnot too, there seems to be a persistent or consistent negative association, like a negative correlation between coffee and consumption and Alzheimer's disease. More coffee consumption, less Alzheimer's, less likelihood of Alzheimer's disease. Uh, I don't know how many people they studied. 3 independent reviewers. Um, but I guess they did a meta analysis of 4 studies that were published up to January 2004. So this research paper right now isn't an actual research that they did, but more like analysis of prior research that was conducted. So like on 4 studies. But I guess all these 4 studies kind of studied coffee consumption with different methods. So there is some, if you call this science, then there's some science backing that up. Yeah, I
yeah. I
think there are
mean,
some
I
health
guess
benefits. I can't. It's a It's a strong thing to say it's hogwash, especially when there's some
Yeah.
evidence that does
I mean, I
support
think right off the
health
bat,
benefits.
right? Like you get a metabolism increase by drinking coffee, especially like if you drink coffee on an empty stomach. So
It
if
did
you're
say,
doing
yeah,
things like intermittent fasting, like you're going to see that improvement there.
that's right. It says several studies show that caffeine can boost the metabolic rate by 3 to 11%. So yeah,
Oh,
you're right.
boosting.
So you saying this is kind of an acknowledgement that there are some health benefits to
Yeah. I mean,
coffee, right?
I utilize it from that. Like, it's weird because it's like I enjoy it a lot. So there's that side of it. And then there's also the side of like, I know that, there are those potential health benefits, or not potential, but there are those like researched health benefits. And so
Yeah.
it's like, it's like I don't have a reason not to. But it's like when you start getting into the world of like flavored drinks and like, adding all these like milks and like fillers and stuff,
Mm,
that like I'm not really into that. I don't drink that as much. But every once in a while I'll get uh, like a oat milk latte, iced latte or something like that.
got it.
But for the most part, like every morning I just drink black coffee. Like that's what I drink.
Right. Right, because calling an iced latte coffee is not the same as calling pure black coffee because there are like other things in that iced latte that don't really make it purely coffee.
Yeah, and
Uh,
it diminishes the caffeine effects too. The more stuff that you add in there, so like
I guess it would dilute
one
it,
cup of
huh?
coffee is like between 150 to 180 milligrams. And so when you start adding like
Yeah, so
milk and
precise.
stuff like that, it
Uh-huh.
kind of removes that effect.
A little bit. It dilutes it a little bit.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, I guess you're right. Hmm. So I guess when
So
we
I
talk
mean,
about coffee, we're not talking. It's like coffee is not monolithic. There are different kinds of coffee that will probably
mm,
exhibit some characteristics or health benefits of coffee to a greater extent than others.
yeah, and I mean, there's like, um, it's like tea. What is it? Cascara tea, which is tea that's made from the coffee bean like shell. Like they
Uh
pull
huh.
out the bean from the shell, and then they use like the shell, like the fruit of the coffee, and they make teas out of that. And so like that's also another like
It's a
I
tea
guess I don't know
coffee
if it'd be.
hybrid.
Yeah, it's like it's really weird. That's usually made
Uh,
like sweet or like used with sweeteners. But that has its own like benefits to it as well. I don't know if you stick it in the same category as coffee, but like it's a derivative, coffee derivative.
but it's a tea. Why is it a tea? Oh, because you brew the water with a shell.
Yeah, it's the fruit. So like the bean is inside the fruit, and like so there's like different methods of processing the coffee bean. You can roast it like with the fruit, I believe. They have like a washed method where they use water and like all sorts of other things, and then they have like the dry method, a bunch of different methods. And so instead of just wasting the fruit, you can take that fruit and then process it for like tea and stuff.
For tea, interesting.
Yeah,
Wow. I usually treated coffee and tea as such a dichotomy that cannot, as with a border that cannot be crossed. But you explaining that there's like this fruit of a coffee that can be used to make tea challenges that paradigm. I
yeah,
didn't know
because
that.
it's I mean it is like when they grow it, it's a fruit, and then you basically take the inside of the fruit, which is the bean, and then that's what you're roasting.
Right. If you think about it, isn't coffee kind of like tea? You're just mixing the water with uh like extracts of coffee beans, kind
Yeah,
of. Isn't that tea? Doesn't that fit the definition of a tea?
I
Because
guess so.
for
Yeah,
tea, what you do is you boil the water and then you just put like the materials or whatnot in the extracts a little bit, and you just let those extracts infuse with the water. And that's kind of what you're doing with coffee.
yeah. Yeah, I mean the same thing because you can buy coffee in tea bags, and like it's called like steeped coffee, and like you would make it like you would make tea. So it's like it's kind of virtually the same thing. It's just a different like
Wow, it's kind of
thing
mind
that you're
blowing.
making.
Yeah, dude, for me, it was always like a dichotomy: coffee and tea. But maybe coffee is tea. Yeah,
I guess that's one way of looking at it. Yeah.
kind of mind blowing. I'm going to type that up to see if the internet supports my statement here. Is coffee tea? No, coffee is not tea. But the question has been asked, you see. There, I think it looks like the question, if I trust the population here, there's a validity into the question itself. Only the leaves from camellia essence make true tea. So no, coffee is not tea. Okay. Is
Hmm.
coffee technically tea? Yeah, it's an explored question. Oh, okay, so yeah, there's validity into my inquiry.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, you think you were talking about some other aspects of coffee that I didn't quite consider, like these macro effects. Like this
Hmm.
coffee has built a community of people, and also you said like there's these coffee shops and farms as well, which makes me think coffee is it fuels our economy. Imagine if we removed coffee from our world, how many jobs would be lost? A lot, like
Lots.
hundreds of thousands of jobs, if not more.
I
So
mean, look how big Starbucks is and like the number of stores that they have
exactly
worldwide
right,
and the farmers that they work with and um,
right.
you know, and
Right, so
there's
it's
so
not
many
just like the
different
retailers of
franchises.
coffee, but the chain of suppliers, the supply chain in coffee as well too.
Yeah. And can't you trade coffee on in futures?
What? But I wouldn't be surprised. You can trade futures on anything, I guess. It's a whole industry. So
Yeah.
yeah, benefits of coffee go beyond just the individual health benefits as well too, but there are macro benefits across our society,
Yeah.
society level, society scale benefits to coffee.
It's I don't know. It to me it's so cool because it's like just from like the communal societal aspect of it, it's like
Hmm.
every shop has its own vibe to it. Certain image that they're trying to portray, and it's like cool to see and experience that. And like where I live here in Tulsa, there's like I would say within a 1 mile radius, there's probably like 5 or 6 different coffee shops.
Yeah, it's pretty pervasive.
Yeah, I mean it's a service industry city. A lot of that's what a lot of people they work in service industry type jobs, so it kind of makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, the economic importance of coffee is undeniable, but we spend a lot of money into coffee, which I did some quick math. So if
Hmm.
you like purchase a cup of coffee twice in a day, and the average cost of a coffee is $2.7, one cup of
Hmm.
coffee, then in a year, there's 52 weeks in a year. Um, the
Don't tell me this.
Yeah, I mean it's not that much, I think, in the grand scheme of things. But it's
Yeah,
52 weeks in a year. You spend $5.4 if you buy 2 cups of coffee in a day. So multiply that, and you'll spend about $1,400 in a year on coffee, which isn't bad. But that's also the price of ergonomic desk, a really good ergonomic desk, maybe. It's also the price of maybe many online courses that you can
but if
take
you
as well.
value coffee, then like, is it that big? Like, is that really an issue, or like, is that really a value proposition there?
Well, we're examining the value proposition here, but you're saying $1,400 is definitely worth year's supply of coffee and year's consumption of coffee. I can see how that would make sense. Like $1,400 is not that much in the grand scheme of things, and with that $1,400, you can probably get added productivity. I mean, you mentioned the culture that you get to be a part of as well too. Uh, it's like indirectly you're kind of subsidizing the coffee industry, right? Because you're consuming and you're purchasing coffee products, so therefore you're supporting the industry of coffee and the
Yeah,
infrastructure around it as well too. And if
yeah,
you see that much value in coffee, just not just individually but also on a macro scale, then I can see how that $1,400 is justified. Like if you go watch like a musical, maybe you pay like $500 for a really
for a
good ticket.
musical. Oh, if you go like, there was that Harry Potter and the Cursed Child or something like that.
Right. Oh my god, that's exactly what I was thinking of. That was expensive. That was
Wait,
expensive.
you watch that?
I did not. I did not. But I
Oh,
looked up the prices, and it's not just one part, so you'd be paying for two parts too. So the value proposition was a little bit
Oh,
more digestible, knowing that I'd be paying for like two parts, two showings, kind of. But I didn't buy it. But yeah, for like to purchase a ticket for a musical, you pay like $500. So it's like three times the value of a good seat in a high profile musical, maybe. And you get this, and you get coffee for like an entire year.
year as opposed
So
to one night.
as opposed to like maybe 3 nights. Yeah,
Or yeah, three.
three
Right.
nights. Yeah, if $500 times three is 1,500, which would be the average based on my math about the average the price, yearly price of consuming coffee. Assuming that you go pick up coffee like 5 times a day, or twice
Or
a day,
twice a
and
day.
then five days in a week. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So the value is it wasn't that expensive. So I guess the value proposition here is digestible if you consider all the benefits as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And I mean,
not.
it like it also depends too on like some people. It's convenience, right? Like I don't want to like waste my time making coffee in the morning. I would rather just go and pick it up because it's faster and quicker. So you have that aspect too, where it's just like you can't beat convenience. Convenience is a hell of a drug. So it's like you
Yeah.
know,
So I calculated the time as well that it might take to get coffee in a year and how much time you'll be spending just to pick up and get coffee.
yeah,
So assuming that a round trip of getting coffee will take you 20 minutes, I assume let's say 5 minute walk, wait 5 minutes to get the coffee, and then multiply that by two for the round trip. So let's assume one trip for coffee is 20 minutes, and then you take two trips in a day, and then you will do that 5 days in a week. So that's about 200 minutes in a week. Assume there's 52 weeks in a year. Then you spend about 173 hours in a year getting your coffee, which again didn't seem like that much. So if you compare it to work weeks, that's like 40 hours in a week, right? So that's 4 weeks, kind of like a month, months, a month's worth of work and time that you're spending in a year to be able to get your coffee. Actually, that's a lot. Isn't that a lot of time? It's a lot of time you're
yeah.
spending to try to get coffee. It's like your coffee commute time. If you value your commute time, then you can kind of like draw the parallel with your commute time and compare it to your coffee commute time, and that's how much time you're spending. So if you think the value of getting coffee is above $1,400 in a year and spending $173 to access the coffee, maybe there are some other factors, but if it's above these two factors, then maybe it makes rational sense to go get coffee. But if it's below, if your value in attaining coffee is below 173 hours plus $1,400 in a year, then it might make sense that you don't get coffee.
But that 174 hours, if you like go break it down even further, if you compare it to the entire year, that's only 2% of the total time in a year. Or I mean, given 24 hours in a day. Um, Granted, we could reduce that to 12 hours because you're spending 10 to 12 hours sleeping.
Yeah,
Um,
you got to reduce the time. You got to look
okay.
at your waking hours. No, you got to look at the waking hours. Are you doing the math?
Yeah.
Let's see. So 16. Let's say you have 16 hours in a day, and that's. And also, I was looking at work. So 173 hours is about, let's say, like one work month, assuming you have 40 hours in a work week. So
Mhm.
that's what I was looking at.
So it's 3.972%.
Percent ish
Yeah.
in a year with waking hours.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Don't you think that's a lot? 4% of your waking hours just in trying to access your coffee, just in getting access to your coffee. That doesn't
The,
include time that you sit down, drink coffee and whatnot, which is time you enjoy too. This is just to access your coffee.
but who's to say that that time you can't do other things while you're maybe you can call a
That's
loved
true.
one, while you're going to get your coffee, or maybe you can
That's
either
true.
like
You're
listen to an
right.
audiobook.
Dude,
So, you know,
damn, that's a great point. Maybe it enables you to do those things because you take a trip out. You get to maybe go for a walk as well too. So that's also healthy as well too.
work life
And
balance. Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Damn. you're right. You cannot look at the time in isolation. There are some other benefits that also come with the commuting and walking. Assuming that coffee is walking distance.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
would say that's accurate. It takes me about 5 minutes to walk to the coffee shop and then another 5 minutes to get coffee or for them to
Hmm.
like actually make it.
That's a good point.
I would
You
say that's
spend
pretty accurate.
Yeah, you spend 5% of your time taking a. So if we reframe it, you spend 5% of your waking hours in a year going out, exploring the world, taking a stroll, taking in sights, seeing people as well too, having conversations. That sounds like that could be worthwhile. And on top of that, you're putting yourself in a position to get coffee. Okay, I mean if
I
you
feel
put
like
it
that's a
that
good
way,
deal.
yeah, I mean, that sounds like a good deal. So all in all, I mean, doing all this math and $1,400 not being that expensive as well too, sounds like it's a good deal financially and looking at the time as well to get coffee. It's a good bargain.
So
You
you're
are
going to start
not,
drinking coffee this week, right?
but I yeah,
It's a
it's for me. I don't need to drink coffee to function well. I do wonder if one. I think I don't wake up always like early, so I do wonder if I start to drink coffee, I might wake up earlier because you. One of the things that stood out to me while you're describing coffee was you saying, "I look forward to waking up and just preparing my coffee, like just that ritual and whatnot too." And generally, if you have something to look forward to waking up, you are going to wake up earlier. So I wonder if that would help me waking up earlier because these days I've been waking up a little bit earlier because I want to walk my dog.
mm,
So there are all these other external motivations and other motives for me to wake up, including coffee. Maybe I'll wake up earlier. So that's like one benefit that really does entice me
hmm
into drinking coffee. But like other benefits for drinking coffee, like staying alert, being able to concentrate throughout the day. I don't know if I struggle with that as much. So those aren't benefits that I would seek out from coffee and that I'll try to extract from coffee.
yeah,
Those are
honestly,
like the
like,
primary benefits of coffee, no?
yeah, I honestly, in good faith,
Hmm.
to be honest, as much as I love coffee, I would caution you against it because it becomes like a drug like addiction, to be honest. Like, I've been thinking about this all weekend actually, where it's like I'm addicted to caffeine. Like, I can't, like, if I go without it, I will develop like withdrawal symptoms where I'm getting like
Exactly
headaches.
right.
And it's just
So
like,
that
I,
was
in good faith,
uh
I can't like encourage somebody, yeah, like start drinking coffee, if you've never drank it before. Cause, you know, who knows? It might mess up your day.
right, and that's my fear as well too. This this reliance that I have on a substance that's not innate to me makes me very dependent on something that I don't have full control over too. And that's scary as well. So there's
Yeah.
like a list of benefits, a list of cons, but ultimately, given that I think I can function well, I was like, I don't think I need coffee. Which I'll read some of the cons that I'm reading from this site,
hmm
wealthygorilla.com, that you touched upon. Like one of the cons you touched upon as well. Like one of the cons or two of the cons that's listed here says it's healthy to beat the addiction of caffeine. Like relying on any substance, which is what I was trying to say, is a
Yeah.
risky thing. So that's one. But it's not just you that's experiencing this. There's probably a large population in the States that has dependence on caffeine. And
Yeah.
another con here is like no more caffeine shakes and trembles. So if you don't drink coffee, you won't have these like, let's see, it can give
I don't
people the
experience
shakes
that.
if they consume too much. Okay, well that's good. But some people might experience this. So those are some cons. I mean, increasing the anxiety levels is also another
Mm,
one. There's always so much stress throughout the day. I was like, I don't know if I need added anxiety throughout my day.
yeah.
What else?
Cause like the thing like to touch on that addiction part, like think about like a barista that works on it, on the espresso machine. Like they have to dial in their brew method. So like they have to make sure that like the coffee is being extracted at the right speed and things like that. And so they constantly have to be tasting the espresso
Oh, the
that
baristas.
they're making
Oh,
in between the drinks. So like, they'll make some drinks, do some tests, make sure that everything is tasting good. And they're doing that multiple times in a day. So like the amount of caffeine that they're intaking and the amount of coffee that they're drinking is like astronomical.
Right. Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, I wonder if we take the baristas and then who've been active for like a good amount of time, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, maybe at least, and then we cut their supply of coffee for like 2 days. What kind of symptoms would emerge and kind of side effects would emerge? I don't know if that almost sounds sick to try to do an experiment of, but yeah, that would kind of show doing that would kind of show the dependence level that one would develop to coffee. Let me read some of these other cons, and tell me if you empathize with this. It says caffeine can reduce the quality of your sleep. Do you feel like you have trouble sleeping sometimes because of coffee?
If I drink coffee after 2 p.m., I'm probably like, I'm not going to sleep early tonight. Like, I will for
Really?
sure probably be going to sleep at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Wow, it's that long lasting. Hmm.
Yeah. Like, it's just, and I know the thing is I know that it'll do that. Yeah. I still do it anyways. And I always tell myself I'm not going to do it, but it calls my name.
2 p.m. is still really early, so I can see how it can be hard not to drink coffee at like 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I all that this is also probably another reason that I don't drink coffee is because I don't have trouble really staying awake. I seem to
Mm,
be able to like if I have to do something, or if I want to do something past 12 a.m., I'm not
mm,
tired enough that I can't do it generally. So if I
mm,
drink coffee, that's only going to exacerbate the issue of me staying up too. So that's one reason I also think
mm.
about avoiding coffee. Here's another con. It says after time, coffee doesn't give you any more energy. Uh, let's
That is
see.
true.
Really? So here it says after time, our bodies build tolerance to coffee and caffeine and this extra boost of energy. So you don't see any more energy benefits from drinking coffee every day. But I read this and I wonder then, is it because you've just plateaued in the kind of energy boost, or you just don't get any energy boost at all from
You
coffee
just,
anymore?
that you don't, that, yeah. Like, honestly, like, to me now it's like more of a ritual than anything. Like, I know that I do get the caffeine benefits, quote unquote, but like I don't feel them, and like I don't feel it. Like, I don't feel any more alert than
So,
when I just wake up. Um,
oh,
and
really?
so it's like it's really because like before, there was a point where I was drinking like 5-6 cups a day, like no question, and I had to like definitely like work on like
Oof,
weaning that off. And so like now I'm like 1 to 2. But there's no point in drinking anything more than the first cup. Like the
really?
cold brew in the afternoon or the cup of coffee, it's 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 not going to give me that jolt of energy that I'm looking for. But I won't go to sleep. Like,
So that's what's contradictory. You said that if you drink coffee after 2 p.m., you won't be able to
mhm.
go to sleep. So there is that added energy that you do feel if you drink a little bit more coffee, right? Or one more cup of coffee. So it does give you
it,
more energy, no?
it's it's not, so it's not in the sense of like, oh, like I feel energized. It's not even like that. It's just like
Oh,
because it's like is it your serotonin levels increase.
probably
So
maybe.
like as like the darkness starts to take over the day,
The darkness.
um
Oh,
your
the night
serotonin,
comes, the darkness takes over.
yeah,
I thought you'd say the
your
darkness takes over your soul as you drink coffee.
yeah, as the dark liquid takes over my soul. As your serotonin levels increase,
Yeah.
your adrenaline should be decreasing. But like I don't feel that sense of like extra energy, and I don't feel that sense of like energy being reduced. So it's like it's just like the same level all day long.
So you don't
Like
feel
there's
a boost of adrenaline from the 2 p.m. coffee, but something's keeping you awake a little bit.
Yeah, it becomes like anxiety because it gets to the point where it's like I
Mm,
want to go to sleep and I can't. So it
okay.
turns
So it's
into
not
like,
energy. It's not. Uh-huh. It turns into like.
it turns into like that idea of like being energetic turns into like angst or like anxiety,
I see, and
because I'm
that's
like,
what
I
keeps you
know I
up.
should be going to sleep earlier, but I can't because I had this coffee at 2 p.m. and I don't feel like in my head, I'm like, oh, I need to go to sleep, but my body is just like not like
I see.
productive, but it's just there, just like, all right, like let me just pick up my Xbox and play for a little bit until I like eventually fall asleep. But like,
So it's not energy that's keeping you up. It's something else, but it's not added energy.
yeah, it's not added, and it's not like there's no value add, but like it's like
It's
sustained
something's
energy,
keeping
I
you
guess.
up.
I don't know. Yeah,
Interesting. Okay, well,
it feels like
there would be some mystery to that. Interesting. Okay. There's another con that's listed here. It says you can save a lot of money by quitting coffee, but we kind of did some rough math on this, and as you said, 5 to 6 cups of coffee
hmm
that you were consuming at some point. So we
yeah,
assumed that the person in this model was consuming twice 2 cups of coffee a day at in the average size of a cup of coffee, which would be priced around like 2.70. And if we assume 5 days a week of coffee consumption, 2 times a day, it came out to be $1,400. So some people, that could be a lot of money, but it wasn't as expensive as we thought. So this con isn't as valid after doing some rough math.
yeah. But I
So
mean, an extra $1,000, like who
yeah,
wouldn't
it
want
could
an
be
extra
quite
thousand
good.
dollars? Yeah,
Yeah, that might be a full year of your bills, of your utility bills. That's also maybe a full year of your phone bills as well too.
yeah,
So that's something to consider. Right. But the value proposition of coffee isn't just a I mean it's quite expansive. We talked about the macro scale benefits of coffee as well too. So if you yes, you can save a lot of money by quitting coffee, but a financial decision isn't just made by looking at the cost of coffee, but also the value that it brings. So
yeah,
that just the cost of coffee shouldn't lead you to think that going away from it or not paying for coffee is a sound financial decision because you have to look at the value proposition as well.
yeah. There's people
Um,
that like promote that. There's a dude. He's a. Have you heard of Dave Ramsey?
some name sounds familiar. Yeah.
He's like a financial advisor, I guess you could say, but he's
Uh
very like conservative with his beliefs when it comes to like finances and stuff. And so like he advocates against people spending money on going out and buying coffee. Like he would rather people like find other ways to like get that energy or whatever. Um,
hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, but if the
But again,
benefits of getting coffee is not just energy, as you said, but the
yeah,
community of coffee as well too. What kind of other alternative can you turn to that is going to replicate the exact value of coffee? I
yeah.
assume the alternatives are very limited or none.
Yeah, and he taught like most of the perspective that he gives is like, oh, somebody that's like in debt, like, oh, you need to like find areas where you can cut expenses. So like going out and buying
Right.
coffee could be a cut expense, but like at the same time, it's kind of like, well, like I don't know if that's like if you need to cut coffee out of your budget because you're that in debt, then like that's one thing. But like I don't see that as like that big of an issue. Like if somebody like if that's just like a value a point of value in your life, like keep doing it and find other ways to like cut, you know, costs and
Different.
figure out what you need to do. Yeah.
I feel like if you can drink coffee and drinking coffee allows you to be more productive, which can generate more financial benefits for you. I don't know if you
Yeah.
work harder or whatnot, or it's a kind of an investment that, yeah, it's translating to just you being more productive and may translate to financial benefits. Then that I think it makes sense. I think the takeaway kind of in discussing all of this, making a financial decision to cut coffee, you can't think of it in like isolation with just a cost. You have to think about it like with a full value spectrum as well too.
Yeah.
But if it's really honestly, but I do. So you mentioned some other benefits of like consuming coffee, like the community and how maybe the artistry of it as well too. But to me, those are like luxury benefits.
Mhm.
Like those are things that we seek out in like the arts, right? So those aren't really essentials in a coffee. So coffee as an essential, if you think about it, maybe the essential service that coffee provides is like the additional energy. So if you
Yeah.
just boil it down to the essential service and the essential value of coffee, if we can classify this added energy as an essential service, an essential benefit
Mhm.
that coffee provides, then there are other alternatives that provide that essential value. Like, and this is maybe what Dave Ramsey was saying. I have no idea, but like green tea is another. It does have caffeine, I
But it's the
think,
same thing though. Like it's no, it's
but it's a lot less than coffee apparently, and it still has the same like all the antioxidants as well. So you'd
yeah,
be just reducing your caffeine intake. So I guess you asked like, are we talking about coffee or caffeine? And I guess this just makes our division of coffee and caffeine more relevant too, because the amount of caffeine in coffee is different than other sources of caffeine. So if the
that's true.
essentials, yeah, if the essential like value that you're extracting from coffee is the energy, there are other alternatives that that will give you caffeine in moderation, therefore making the side effect of coffee more moderate as well.
Yeah, you could take a cold shower and
That's
get,
true.
get energized from a
That's
cold shower.
that's true. That's true. Oh man, I hate cold showers in the morning. So painful.
I tried doing that for a while. I just honestly couldn't do it. Like I
How long?
went down that path.
How long did you do it for?
Maybe like a good 2 3 weeks, and like I would
Every
start off.
day.
Yeah, and I would start off
That's
like I would do
impressive.
my hot shower, and then I would like at the towards the end I would do like I would build up to it. So I'd do like maybe like 15 seconds of cold water, then 30
I
seconds of cold
see,
water, and just keep
dude.
increasing it.
That's
But it's just
interesting.
I don't think the value is to me at least. I didn't find that like the value. It's just more work.
It's more work, right? It's like this similar value to coffee, but more work, huh?
Yeah,
Right. Right. Yeah, I don't know what the alternatives are to get that added energy that coffee provides. And I wonder if that list of alternatives is actually so long. I don't think it's that long. Like coffee, if you also break it down with like the efficiency with how it delivers energy, it's probably
Mhm.
really fast. Like you
Yeah,
can exercise to get energy, but you might need a good 30-minute workout. Drinking coffee takes like a few seconds, and then the cost of you don't have to do anything afterwards, just to let your body work to then generate that additional energy.
yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder
I
if the
mean,
list of alternatives actually not like doesn't stand up to par with coffee in terms of delivering energy in a quick manner.
yeah. I mean, if you're looking, especially like from that weight loss standpoint too, it's like if you drink coffee, right, and you get like a 10% boost of your metabolism, and then you go
Yeah.
work out. Let's say you go for a run.
Mm,
Your metabolism's going to kickstart there too. So it's like it's almost like getting like a perk card in Call of Duty or something.
yeah, that's true. But do you really need that added benefit and that added boost of like increasing your metabolism when you work out? As long as you keep it like a consistent regimen, then
Yeah,
you don't need that quote unquote shortcut boost, right?
that's I 100% agree, and I ask myself that question all the time. And sometimes I'll do that where like I will like make myself suffer by not drinking coffee,
Uh
and
huh.
I like to work out in the morning when I can, and it's miserable. Like I like literally feel like I'm going through like a drug withdrawal when I first start. But then towards the end, I feel better with all the endorphins and stuff like that.
Right, right. I feel like saying that it's like both an argument for and for not drinking coffee. Because for those who
Yeah.
drink coffee, going through those withdrawal symptoms is probably hell. But for those who don't drink coffee, drinking coffee then would result in these withdrawal symptoms that you probably wouldn't want as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, all in all, I feel like you could probably there's not just one thing that would replicate the the value, the critical value of like this added energy from coffee. But there are many things that you can do to then compensate. Just little things here and there. Work out maybe just once more. Maybe drink green tea. Sleep earlier, and all these little things that might just get better sleep. That might replace and replicate the added energy of caffeine in
Mm.
coffee. Perhaps. You
Yeah.
should try it. You should try just doing green tea for a bit, and then we can do a podcast episode about it and see if you think that, oh yeah, life without coffee is actually better or the same or worse, and then we're gonna share that in a podcast episode. Just an
I
idea.
have I have black tea, and then I have
I think black tea doesn't have. Does it have caffeine? I don't know if it has caffeine. Does black tea have probably a little
Maybe
bit?
not to the same degree.
Yeah, but I feel like green tea is like the go-to. Oh, it does have caffeine, 47 milligrams. Let's see how much does green tea have caffeine.
Oh, but
I
that's
feel like
way
green
less
tea is like
than.
way less.
Yeah, that's like caffeine is three times the caffeine, or coffee has three times the
I see.
caffeine as black tea.
3 times. Okay, that's more. So green tea contains between 30 and 50 milligrams of caffeine. So I guess black tea would work, but I think green tea is encouraged also because they have some good antioxidants. You know,
Yeah, green tea has 28 minutes, so it has even less than black tea.
yeah. But yeah, all in all, I
Maybe.
leave the this conversation. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I'm gonna try black tea this week and see how that goes. Uh,
Try for a month, David.
just only tea, black tea and green tea. I
Black
need to
tea and
pick up
green
some
tea.
green tea.
That would be a good sample time period to then
Yeah,
assess and support a conclusion of whether it was you had a better or worse routine in
for the
life
rest
with coffee or without. A
for the
week is
rest
too
of the
short.
month.
I think you need a month, but up to you.
What if I do? So I'll do a month, but
Mm.
I can have one cup on the weekend. One cup of coffee on the weekends is okay.
Do you really need that 1 cup? If it's just 1 cup, do you
You
really
sound
need
like
that
a
one
drug
cup?
addict. Let me just get one more
Yeah.
hit.
If nobody knew what coffee meant and they just listened to our conversation, yeah, you would have all the traits of talking with a drug addict.
I'll give it a shot. I'll do for the
Up
rest of
to
the
you.
month.
Up to you.
I'll
That'd
do.
be an interesting episode. You tell us. So yeah, that'd be
Yeah, I'm gonna
interesting.
do black tea for the rest of the month.
Dude, but that sounds tough. So really up to you, especially if you're someone that drinks coffee quite a bit too. But it might be a good time, especially as the year winds down. So it might not affect your work productivity as much. But
Yeah, we'll see.
we'll see. Yeah,
I'll give it
up
a
to you.
shot.
If you do that, just let me know, and then we can talk about that. If not, then we'll talk about something else.
Yeah,
But all in all, I leave this podcast episode not convinced that I should drink coffee because I feel like the benefits of drinking coffee. One, I don't think I need it as much. Like I said, I think some of these are like luxury benefits to artistry
Mhm.
and having. Yeah, sure. Having a community is important, but you can find the community in different areas as well too. So the luxury benefits and the essential value of it, like the added energy, I feel like I can replicate that by just having a solid approach in different areas of my life. So I leave not convinced that I should drink coffee, although there are definitely a lot of health benefits, it seems, as well too. But again, these are not exclusive to coffee. More antioxidants, that's not exclusive to coffee.
Yeah,
Reducing your risk of Alzheimer's, that's not exclusive to coffee. So, I guess I came up with my kind of rationale. There are health benefits, but the fact that they're not exclusive to coffee makes me less convinced that I should drink coffee.
and I'm leaving realizing that I should probably not drink as much coffee as I'm drinking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no,
You only
I
drink 1 cup a
legitimately.
day. You said 1 to 2 cups a day, so it's not that much, right?
But it's like it's
Every
too
day.
much. Like, yeah, it's like there's still an element of where it just feels like it's too much. Like I'll buy coffee beans and then I'll buy cold brew,
Yeah.
like a bottle of cold brew, or I'll go to the coffee shop to get cold brew. Like that just seems too excessive, especially when we're talking about like the added value from that second cup. It's like it's
It's
not
not that much.
necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, and listening to your story and just multiplying it by hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Americans too, and you just think how many people are going through this routine, just how massive this this conundrum is. I don't know.
like
I don't know if I would call
zombies.
it a problem because I don't know if it's a problem, but there's just this cycle. This is how massive this cycle is.
I need to take a load. I definitely I'm seeing that now through our conversation.
Cool. I think. But yeah, keep us posted. I'd be curious, especially as you described all the effects and the thoughts that you were having about coffee.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, those were our thoughts about coffee. Why don't we wrap it up? It was nice catching up.
yeah, man. I always enjoy being on the podcast and having these funny, sometimes ridiculous conversations.
And insightful, hopefully somewhat insightful
Yeah.
conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, dude, it was good catching up. It was unfortunate that we didn't catch up for like a month or whatnot too, but
Yeah.
still, whenever we do catch up, it's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, did you? Joe Rogan was in Tulsa, by the way.
I stopped. I don't watch him anymore.
At all?
I stopped. I
You
can't
mentioned
watch
this,
him
but you
anymore.
still really
Yeah. I
wow.
just,
I got
he's, um, I mean, no, yeah, I wouldn't have gone. Honestly, if I knew, because I found out the day that he was here, and
you
I would
wouldn't
have
have
bought
gone.
tickets and resold them, but I won't. I
Wow,
can't.
such a
I can't do it.
persistent dislike of Joe
He's
Rogan.
he's just changed so, like, he's getting. I feel like he's getting worse. Where he, like, would dialogue about different ideas, and now it's like it's almost like he's a media propaganda mouthpiece, and it's like I don't
What
like
evidence do you have of this?
no, he was way
He
more
still explores.
neutral.
He's way more neutral. What do you mean? He
He,
always had strong opinions.
no,
That
but
was why some of his podcast episodes were very entertaining. He had strong
well,
opinions about things.
yeah, but he would flip flop. Like, if he had one guest, he would side with that guest, and then if he had a different guest, he would side with that guest. Now it's like he's always of the same position, and it
He's
would be
consistent.
okay.
You are berating his consistency. Then you would want someone to be consistent, right? The consistency is some trait that we should be encouraging. No.
Nah, there's just something about, like, the way that the podcast is nowadays that I just don't have the same
Wow.
interest in it like I used to. Like, I would say I probably stopped listening to the podcast like maybe like 2.5 years ago.
Oh my God, that's a long
Like,
time.
consistently, like 2.5 years ago, I would, like, here and there maybe listen to an episode, and now I can't do it anymore. Like, it's just not for me.
Really, dude, I don't think he's changed that much. I feel like he's consistent. He's got strong opinions. Does his hobbies as well. The reasoning for why he believes certain things makes sense. Sometimes if he
Mm,
flip flops, it's because he acknowledges there's like a flaw in his rationale. Well, all these things that I'm saying, how there's nothing that would
that's
turn me away from listening to a podcast. Anyway, maybe we should do that. Maybe we should talk about Joe Rogan in another podcast episode.
that would be a good
Maybe,
episode.
yeah, maybe Elon Musk as well. Are you a fan of Elon Musk?
I do, but I also think he's low key a charlatan.
Low key a charlatan. Okay, yeah. So we'll put Elon Musk. I'm a big fan of Elon Musk as well too. So maybe we'll discuss our opinions and see if we can sway one of our opinions one way or the other.
Let's do it. Change my
And
mind.
I would have gone, man, Joe Rogan. Yeah, can't believe you missed that. But yeah, I know I saw that Joe Rogan in Tulsa. I was like, damn, did David go? But
Oh, speaking
I
of
guess he
which,
didn't. Uh,
another cool thing that happened this last Friday.
yeah.
I had dinner with one of the scouts from the Brooklyn Nets, and he bought me a drink.
What?
Yeah,
One of the NBA scouts?
yeah. He was here for like 2 days, and I went to go
Why?
grab.
Why'd you have drinks with him? You
I
guys are
didn't know.
friends?
Like, I went to go, like, have dinner at this, like,
Oh,
bar or whatever. They have, like, really good burgers, and I'm just sitting there, like, and he had ordered duck, but he wanted a burger, and he didn't know that they sold burgers. And he was like, "Hey, how did you get that?" And I was like, "Oh, you have to order off this other menu." And then we just, like, started talking, and he was like, "Yeah, I've been doing." He used to be the scout for Orlando Magic,
uh-huh.
and
Should
then
you be sharing all this? Because either we can
oh
identify
yeah, I
probably.
probably should. I mean, well, he's not even online or anything like that, so I guess I don't
Got
know if it
it.
really matters. But yeah, it
Nice.
was really cool. He's just like, so yeah, like, that was another fun thing that happened this past weekend.
Dude, so many adventures. Except you
Come to
missed an
Tulsa.
epic one by not going to the Joe Rogan
Oh my
comedy show,
gosh.
but but yeah, lots of adventures it looks like you're going through. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, let's say bye to our listeners and then I'll see you in 2 weeks, dude.
Yeah, man. Take it easy. Yeah, 2 weeks. I'm actually going to be in the Bay Area in 2 weeks. So
You are?
yeah,
Oh,
I'm going
really,
to be there
dude?
from this Thursday until the 28th.
Oh, we should catch up.
Yeah,
Hopefully, I'll send a message to you and another friend of ours that you and I both know, and
let's
then
do
see
it.
if we can do something. Oh, sounds good. Maybe we can
Yeah,
do a live podcast too. But
that'd be pretty sick. Yeah.
yeah, it's been a while, huh? All right.
Yeah.
All right, dude.
All
It's
right,
good
dude.
catching up. Stay safe, have fun,
Yeah.
and I'll catch you next time.
Take it easy.
Bye.